Sensay lights the path we've made. From stories untold to wisdom profound, we'll keep your voice where it's always found. The spark of genius, the heart of thought. In every step, the battles we fought. Preserve, extend, and innovate, for the future is ours to create. Sensay rise through the ages and time. Knowledge immortal, voices that climb. From the past to the future, we pave the way. Wisdom eternal, this is Sensay. AI built a human soul, a legacy carved to make us whole. Through every moment we hold the light, guiding the way both day and night. Imagine a world where minds unite, ideas soar and dreams take flight. Together we stand, a force so strong, echoing brilliance where we belong. Sensay rise through the ages and time. Knowledge immortal, voices that climb. From the past to the future, we pave the way. Wisdom eternal, this is Sensay. This is the anthem of innovation, a promise of endless creation. Breaking the rules, rewriting the game. Sensay is more than a name.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. First of all, I'm Dan Thomson. I'm the founder and CEO at Sensay. Welcome to this week's community call. We have changed it this week and next week to Thursdays because our stream master is taking his Fridays off for the next couple of weeks. And I have to start off by apologizing for my background noise today. I had to run out to a cafe today for this, unfortunately, due to internet connections at home. Hopefully, it's not going to be too much of a problem. For anyone who's joining us for the first time, Sensay is a company where we are creating AI clones of people so that they can capture your knowledge, your experience, your stories, your skills, and make it useful to you as an extension of you, as a way of preserving that vital knowledge that you have about your clients, your customers, your teams, and basically extending yourself in a way that wasn't possible before. So, for example, I have my replica helping out with our community, helping out with sales, helping to answer questions about myself and about the project. I also have it drafting things like my emails and helping me out with Telegram messages sometimes, as a sort of a perfect extension of me that has access to my knowledge, my documents, my information. So today we are going to bring up today's guests. And today, first of all, we have obviously Lars as our head of community, and as always here. So Lars, if you want to give a quick introduction about yourself.
Yes, I'm Lars, head of community for Sensay, and I'd always love to be here. Today I'm sitting in a hotel room with a private internet they actually set up for me here, with a disco if you hear the banging next door. And I do want to say hello to David Orban, and thank you for actually being here with us today. If you would like to introduce yourself to us and the community.
Of course. Thank you, Dan and Lars, for having me. I'm an advisor to Sensay, and that is a little bit of what we are going to talk about also, I assume. I have been in AI since the previous millennium. And yes, there was such a thing as AI even then. And I have been in crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain since it started. And I'm excited to be involved in the Sensay project because I do believe that humanity and humans need to evolve. We need to extend the limits of our adaptability, overcome our challenges, and a lot of that will be through the kinds of technologies that Dan and his team are spearheading.
Absolutely. It's great to have you today. So we're going to kick off today's call with a little chat between myself and David before we go into our community updates, and then we'll get on to some of the community questions. As always, if you have any questions on any platform, we are live on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Please feel free to make any comments. We will see them. Or if you're in our Telegram group or Discord groups, write down any questions or comments you have there, and we will bring them up as questions to answer at the end. So please do, feel free to ask anything really, anything about myself, about the project, and we'll do our best to answer as many as we can. So yeah, kicking off, I guess, David, it would be great to hear even more about your background. You're right about saying like AI has been around for a long, technically been around for a long time, which a lot of people don't realize. I think it tracks back to 1943 or 46. I can't quite remember the exact year. But no, it'd be great to hear more about your background, about your company, Beyond Enterprises, and just some of your experiences in both, I guess, Web3 and AI.
I started as a developer in a couple of programming languages that actually are or were AI specific, AI oriented. One of them is called Lisp, and it was famous for a gazillion parentheses that you kept using. But a great thing about it was that it could be reflective. The programming language was able to analyze and write Lisp programs naturally so, and there was no distinction between programs and data. It was really amazing. And the other one was Prolog. And Prolog was famous because of how it would jump around in the logic and the execution of the program. It is called a logic programming language, right? Anyway, we moved way beyond those. But what is important, in my opinion, is that the things that we could only dream about in those years, let alone the decades before, are now actually possible. It used to be a joke. Oh, computers cannot even distinguish between a cat and a dog on a photo. Well, now they not only can, but they can do so many more of the things that we try to do, because now the power of our computers, the amount of data we have available, and the kinds of algorithms we apply to them have gone beyond a threshold where all those things started to be possible. Sensay couldn't exist 10 years ago. If someone tried, they would hit unsurmountable obstacles. But now the time is right. And that is why
That's a good point, actually, on that. I guess very quickly, because there are plenty of examples of people who tried to create type of AI replication technology even 5 years ago. And I think I know 10 off the top of my head. I'm sure there's plenty more. But they were some of the inspirations behind the books I wrote and the research and some of the earliest ideas behind Sensay. And you're right, it couldn't be done then. The advancement of this technology had to get to a certain point before we could even start looking to do this. So we're very lucky to have that technology available to us as we build this.
At Beyond Enterprises, together with my partner Brad Yassar, we look at technologies that can really empower new ways to address the problems that individuals, companies, communities are facing. That is why we love blockchain and crypto, because it is really on the right path to deliver benefits of financial empowerment, of transparency, accountability, a decentralized infrastructure worthy of the 21st century and our ambitions, to billions of people all over the world. And AI, similarly, even though it is courting to become or to be and stay centralized to a greater degree than many of us would want, is already literally in the hands of millions and hundreds of millions of people through our devices. And that is going to be possible with Sensay's replicas as well, whether for personal use or enterprise use. the replicas are going to be in the hands of millions and tens of millions of people.
Absolutely. And you came on as an advisor for Sensay a few months back. Maybe you'd like to, I guess, share how that came to pass, and also, I guess, what it means for you to be an advisor of a company like ours.
At Beyond, we have multiple centers of gravity as a globally decentralized and 100% remote organization ourselves. One of these is Los Angeles in the US, another is Dubai, and a common friend, Marwan Al-Zaruni in Dubai, actually introduced us when him and the Sensay team, some of the Sensay team, and I were at Web Summit in Lisbon last year. And it was love at first sight, I have to say. We spent some wonderful hours on the show floor and then at dinner. And then your co-founder Marco and the CTO of Sensay invited me to become an advisor. That role is for me always very interesting and stimulating because it is kind of the best of both worlds. I can get as deep as I want without having to deal with the day-to-day problems and challenges and politics. And, just like I did for this live stream yesterday, I was looking at the internal communications and I saw that this came up, and I said, hey, why don't I join? So anyway, the question probably is is there a value that I can add and that I can add sustainably in time to the project? And if the answer is yes, then a relationship between a project and the advisor can be very long and can last many years. And you should ask, of course, some other projects that I have worked with in the years, but typically, yes, my advisory relationships are long lasting.
Yeah, I remember the day when Marco was at Web Summit, and because I hadn't seen the introduction before that, but Marco said he's going for a team dinner because I was in Tampa at the time for a different conference, and he said he's going for a team dinner, and he sends the whole team a team photo of him and the guys who were there at Web Summit, and this lovely chap on top. We're like, hang on a minute. Unless our BD team has aged a couple of years, there's a new person. And then came the introduction the day afterwards, and it all made a lot more sense, and it was great. And then then it's been, I guess, now 5-6 months of participation. You've been to one of our advisor meetups, and also during that time you've spent a lot of time working with our product team to actually develop out your own replica.
That's right. And I have a very specific view. I actually prepared this, which is an inspiration for me, the novel Caves of Steel by Isaac Asimov, originally written in 1954, imagines a world where humanoid robots are indistinguishable from people, but by law, they have to wear the letter R as the first letter of their name, so that there would be some way to tell them apart from people. And that is why you can go to rdavidorban.com as opposed to davidorban.com, where I store and build my artificial alter ego. And you can go to sensay.io/ David Orban, R David Orban again, with the R letter R, in order to be able to talk to my replica on Sensay that has been trained diligently by the Sensay team through the hundreds of videos of conferences that I gave and are available online on YouTube, the books or blog posts that I've written and published. And so now you can go and ask questions on all kinds of topics related to AI and technology and the future, topics that are very important to me and close to my interests and have been long enough to be able and train the replica on.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about David's replica really for me is that, you know, obviously DanBot has been, I guess, model number one since day one, and has had probably the most training going into it and some of the latest updates. As I kind of said, I use it quite a lot and continually update it. I put about an hour a week into it now to keep updating it. Even still, I think David's replica has roughly about 10 times more data in it than mine, which is incredible.
Well,
it's always good.
on,
I think,
on one hand, it's easy. It's enough to be old and having published a lot of stuff, right? We generate a lot of data, and a lot of it is owned by Meta or X or LinkedIn, but you have the right to download that data, especially if you are an EU resident. It's a legal obligation of the platforms to give it back to you, and some of them give it to you in a form that is hard to use, but others actually even provide. It's surprising if you think about it, but when you download your data from Facebook, they give you a kind of a local version that you can double click and you can browse through with your mouse, just clicking around and see the posts. Very, very good. So even if you haven't been diligent in writing and publishing books or essays or white papers or whatever it is, or talking at conferences and keynoting, you still created a lot of data that you can use in order to build the knowledge base of your replica. And these platforms are obliged to support you in that effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Some are better than others. I mean, I haven't really ever used Facebook somehow, but so I don't really have any data on there. But when I tried to, I think, extract the data from, I believe it was LinkedIn, maybe 2 years ago. So maybe it's different now. When I first tried to extract data from LinkedIn, the output they give you after a few days is just this horrendous text file. Which would be fine for AI, but for us to like look through and process what actually they have about us is extremely difficult. So some of them do comply, some comply well, and some comply badly. And so yeah, that's something that we're working on the back end for Sensay to have as a way of integrating that data, both in terms of a direct connection or a direct sort of like for YouTube, a transcribe and read or watch essentially, or just an upload of a data export about your personal data that they have about you.
It is one of the things that you may mention in the second half of the call or not. If I'm revealing company secrets, just mute me mid-sentence. But there is an internal Sensay hackathon going on today and tomorrow. And just as for this live stream, I said, hey, why not? I will participate as well. And I listed a few ideas. And today I was in a lot of meetings. This is my second live stream of the day. But tomorrow I set time aside to start implement a few of the things that I mentioned, even though I haven't been actively writing code for many years. The reason I mentioned that is because today's tools are becoming so powerful that going from idea to action and building what you have in mind is becoming almost instantaneous. And I think that is wonderful for so many people. I am seeing the comments, people who are saying, oh, I will definitely have a chat with R. David Orban on the Sensay platform. Well, I would love that account to post in a few minutes saying, I had the chat, right? Rather than saying, oh, I will do it in the future. And the ability, for example, to usefully extract information that was too cryptic a few years ago, like you downloaded your LinkedIn data and you looked at it and said, oh, I can do nothing with this. Now, with the power of the AI tools we have available, becomes actionable, because you just tell them, hey, I got this data. I don't know what to do with it. Can you help? And they do.
I mean, firstly, it's going to go back to an earlier point you made there, but I'm upset that you didn't just put the suit on for us today.
I wouldn't have. Actually, I maybe should change back, because you're right. The other live stream was an investor oriented live stream, and I said,
It's okay.
okay.
You look fantastic. But no, you're right about the ingestion of data, and also just the quality of the ingestion as well. And this is something that we have our AI team working on, is both the quality of ingestion of data and how they process it and how we then store it, to then how it's then retrieved from that storage and applied to the output channels that we have, to make sure that it's the right information on the right platform for the right user. And that's one of the hardest problems we actually have to solve from our sort of AI team to the back end. But you're right. I mean, in terms of new entrepreneurs and new starters, new developers, there's so many tools out there. I mean, our stream master Kevin, he is a big fan of bolt.new. I don't know if you've had a play with it, but between bolt.new and things like lovable.dev, they're incredible. I mean, spinning up a website in minutes.
My preferred tool as of today is Windsurf, fed by technical documentation created by Code Guide, where you just say, hey, this is my idea, and it goes ahead to create the specifications that Windsurf then can use. And I wrote 30,000 lines of code in 5 hours the other day. It's just literally superhuman. And this is the power of AI, which the replica embodies, because it not only gives you the tool to feel superhuman, you project that ability through the multiplier effect that having a replica provides, so that others can interface with you, rather than in the synchronous time, which we, for the moment, have a limited amount of, from when we are born to when we die, in those parallel ways that having a replica exposed to multiple people provide.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I talk a lot about the subjectivity of identity and how that sort of that actually steers the way that we plan out these AI minds, these AI brains, and how they interact with people in a very unique way, depending on who they're speaking to and on which platform. So, and that comes from the philosophy of identity, really. And there's a huge amount that goes into our thought process, our product planning for the future, which is actually one of my favorite topics, which I don't want to get into today, because otherwise I will monologue with this terrible background noise. So I'll probably not do that. And so we've only got a couple more minutes of your time, David. So is there anything that you predict for the next few years in terms of AI and where we're going to end up, both in terms of, I guess, development resources, in terms of replica applications?
So one of the first exciting AI applications that I spearheaded in various ways back 30 years ago was reliable speech recognition. And at the time, there were people who had a difficulty using it because they didn't know how to speak clearly, how to announce the words, how to form sentences. And it was a bit sad, because they would realize that difficulty using those programs. Today, what people realize who complain that they get bad answers from the AI chatbots they use is that they don't know what questions to ask, because it is the quality of your questions that brings out the best value from the interactions with the AIs. And not only individually, but as an entire society, we will constantly upgrade our expectations of what is the quality of the discourse, whether about what a company should be doing next in order to produce a profit and returns to their investors and the founders, hopefully, or what should be the regulatory environment around AI or crypto in a country or a continent or the planet. So many things will improve because of what AI forces us to understand and learn about ourselves. And so that is what I am really excited about. Now, two things, because yes, you're right, I have to go. One is that we did receive a comment from someone who did talk to the replica. So that's great. They acted on my invitation not to wait, not to delay, and they spoke to the replica. Very good. And whether we can answer their question or not is beside.
Yeah, sure. If you've got 1 minute, sure, maybe you can answer it. So I talked with David's replica and asked a question about Web3. If it's based on David's knowledge, how would you create my replica, and what are the data types you use to create it? So I guess this is a big question, but you can probably do a quick.
Yeah, well, so it will be wonderful when actually in the future, I don't know how close or far, you will be able to create your replica by talking to a replica, right? And it is not going to be mine, probably. It will be a Sensay replica that will guide you in the process itself. Today, it is less automated, and it is not based on a conversation, at least at the starting point. However, the data types that you want to bring to a replica today are anything that is in a text form. So the cleaner it is, the better, of course. Things that you have written, things that you posted, things that you transcribed from a YouTube video, maybe, or something like that. And then once you're at a given level, you can then start feeding the replica additional information, because it will ask you things. And there's a very cute gamification component where you earn points by answering more questions around your life, your interests, your approaches to the world, improving your replica's knowledge about you. I have to go, but the last thing that I wanted to say is that, yes, I am happy to be involved with Sensay, and I hope to be able to keep adding value for a long time in the future. And I also love these to be conversations that don't end. And I invite anyone in the community to continue these conversations, both with my replica, but also if they want writing to me. I am at David Orban on every platform. And so you can find me. The best probably is to follow me on X, and then feel free to ask me any question.
Ever the professional. You answered my quick questions about what are your socials and those things without me having to ask. So, thank you very much, David. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, like I said, anyone can follow him. He's at David Orban on any channel. If you come across our David Orban, then you found his replica and not him. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
See you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so guys, we're going to move on with the rest of the community call now. Just quickly, we're going to pull up David was talking about a prompt engineer, how people don't really understand how to prompt properly. And I think this is a big problem as well. And it's why I actually created a character on the Sensay platform for people to actually help them with creating prompts for ChatGPT, for Claude, for anything else. So it's a free tool to use. Anyone can go and use that to create an excellent prompt. It's got essentially my knowledge of prompting behind it, and as well as contributions from the rest of the Sensay team. So if you do need help with creating prompts for anything, please do check out our prompt engineer. It's a really useful tool. Okay, moving swiftly on. I guess we can bring back up Lars. How are you, Lars?
I am great. I do love that knowledge of David, having him in here and looking behind him. One thing I learned is one backstage come in and say all the knowledge David has in his replica is also from all the books behind him on that shelf. Imagine that mind.
Yep, and he's put it all into the replica, and it's a really interesting one to talk to. So, do find it. As he said, it's sensay.io/r David Orban. There we go. There's a QR code to interact with it on the screen now. So, moving on, Lars, you want to give us a bit of an update about what's been happening in the community recently?
So recently, we had a few days ago, we launched the new Telegram mini app. It has been a huge, amazing experience. So many things going into it, and it's connected into a Kazam. So all the points they got from the quest side for Sensei went directly into it. Of course, it's always a work in development like everything, but it is amazing having the community guide around it and sitting and farming and talking all day about it. And then, of course, we have our regular coming in every day. I love the communication that talks with them.
Sorry, my mute button was a little bit hidden there. Yeah, so maybe actually, because I've still got my background noise, maybe if you want to give, I guess, an explanation about the Telegram app, what people can do with it, what goes into it, and also, how to how to make the most out of it.
I will do. So the main thing is like every single other software, there is a lot of data going through. So basically, I'm just gonna pull up on my phone here on the side so y'all can see. So when you go into the Telegram app, it opens up directly on the page. Coming into the system, you have the points coming up and you have your farming going. As you can see, I also have my farming going. And then you have your daily rewards. Yes, I know reflections are very, very good, but I have the light on the front of me here. So it's amazing right now. But you go in, you can have your daily farming, and if you hold Sensei tokens in your wallet connected to the mini app, it multiplies your farming as well. We also have the quest. You can go in and claim extra tokens for it as well inside the mini app. And you have the small little diamond game that comes every day, where you go in and actually go across the screen and gather a total of 300 diamonds collected directly into points earned. Yes, I already did mine today as well. Again, the reflection, let me just turn down the sensitivity. As you can see, I already did mine today. So it's actually been a fun day sitting with the community. Also, us going through it because there's so many details and so many development all the time, especially in these things, to make sure that we have the best for the community, the gamification, and connecting all our quests and games directly into it. It is a big part of why I love it as well. So I know you have a lot of noise over there, Dan.
Yeah, no, don't. It's also I'm just being a bit slow on the mute button. I was getting some replicas ready for a demo. Yeah, guys, and so we've over the last couple of weeks, you'll have noticed we've had a few updates. So obviously, Telegram app this week. Last week we announced the big feature we're bringing out and rolling out to beta testers and then to the public, which is the X Twitter integration, which will allow both training and posting via replicas, which is a huge step up in terms of what we're actually able to do. And the week before that, the LLM switcher, so enabling anyone to use Grok or DeepSeek or Claude or ChatGPT and different models within those, depending on their preference. So these updates, we've got actually I think 3 more weeks of launches as well coming up. So yeah, lots to talk about.
That calendar is crazy these coming weeks. We are looking forward to come out with all of it because it's so much. we actually had to split it up a little bit because we were so like, we want this out, but now we're splitting it up to give you a little bit at a time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, super exciting. And the team have just been working super hard right now. And even as David mentioned, we've got an internal hackathon, which probably means there's going to be another 10 features that get developed in the next 2 days that will be probably brought out in the weeks following. And speaking of what David was talking about with replica training, of talking to an AI to train your replica, actually, I know for a fact that one of the team is working on dynamic voice-to-voice questions to train your replica. So hopefully that goes really well, and then we can implement that very soon. So Lars, I guess
I really remember the last time we had the hackathon. The things that came out of that one was crazy. What people imagined from the team.
yeah, completely. Right, so I'm gonna actually just share my screen and go through a couple of the replicas, two that we discussed already today. So this is the R. David Orban replica that you can interact with, and so you can look at some of interact with David's replica. It's got a huge amount of knowledge base, which is incredible, really, including video and voice. So you can get to hear David's lovely voice over his replica as well, and it's as thorough as he is, as well as his ability to keep the conversation flowing, which is really impressive. We also mentioned the prompt engineer who, when we created her, we called her Polaris. So we could say, I would like help creating a prompt to build a new, what should we do? I don't know, a new social media post.
It's not like the most used prompt across the world. Help me make a social media post, right?
It is, but people do it so badly. So, okay, that didn't work very well. always on demos. Okay, so we'll probably have to move on to another one.
It's very typical that when you want to show something, that is the time it doesn't actually work.
It can work 100 times out of 100 times, but the day you stick it on a demo, it will just drop off. Okay, and then this one was a community one. So this is from CV Alpha, which is built as an AI assistant. So it's fantastic. We'll share some of these as well in some of the community to make them available for everyone to have a look at. So that's as far as we get to with some of the community replica highlights today. I think we can move on to some of the community questions today, and see what people have been asking. I think we'll probably keep it a bit shorter today than usual, but let's see what we come up with.
So, just my two tutorials. Are there any collaboration with Fortune 500 companies or major AI companies that Sensay is working on?
Yes, basically. So we obviously work with the likes of 11 Labs and HeyGen, and we interact with the sort of Hugging Face repositories quite a lot in terms of build and integration. Then, in terms and obviously using the likes of DeepSeek, Grok, Claude, OpenAI, so building on top of those. In terms of building with big companies, we're part of a big CivStart accelerator, which is essentially a GovTech accelerator that we can actually go into. We are pitching to huge telecom companies, some of the 5 biggest telecom companies in the world right now. We're pitching to huge manufacturing companies and to some of the leading management consultants in the world. So we've got a few different routes to market that we're approaching and actually talking to for pilot programs, design partnerships, and also just playing customers. So yes, there are some big ones that are in the works, but as anyone who's worked in SaaS enterprise sales knows, these sales cycles can take quite a lot of time, but between, I guess, I can't really share any names right now, but yes, there are quite a few huge companies that would be extremely recognizable, and as soon as we will talk about them as much as possible, I guess. But yeah, there's some big ones in the works.
That's always nice. I just want to say to the guys, yes, we are live. We are sitting directly here live, just to make sure that you know.
I mean, is it talking about like us live now, or is it talking about the platform being live?
So
Both.
I imagine often like somebody's used to actually people pre-recording a live stream. So I think he's meaning, is this live? Like, are we here now?
Fair enough. I mean, yes to both anyway. Yes
Yes.
to everything.
So Rasta Mustafa, can you share the story of Sensei and what made you create Sensei? That is one of your favorite stories, Dan.
I just got a text message at the same time to the last question as well, saying, actually, no, this is my replica talking. Even though my replica would say, yes, it is live as well. So, how do we really know? Anyways, sorry, just to carry on with this question. Yeah, so, I mean, there's plenty of videos and information about this, but yeah, the story of Sensei is kind of as long as my, I guess, adult career. I studied philosophy at university. I ended up writing a couple of books as about 7 or 8, 9 years ago now, all around the concept of digital immortality and mind uploading. This idea of capturing knowledge and turning it into useful, sustainable AI for the future in a way of preserving myself in some kind of like God complex immortality reach as a way of extending myself in a way that my body and mind can't. And that was way before any of the sort of excitement came out about AI and Gen AI in total into the public domain. And so when it did, obviously I knew this was the time to start building, and we started putting a team together, and we started with that broad concept. We've been really fighting to narrow down our scope as much as possible. And so right now, Sensei can create these incredible replicas of individuals, but we are approaching it as a way of creating this knowledge management system, which we call our wisdom engine for large scale enterprise companies, medium and small companies as well, for their key people, as useful tools, as a way of capturing that intrinsic knowledge that these people have and preserving it and sharing it and extending these individuals in a way that they just wouldn't be able to themselves, both as a productivity tool and as a way of enabling that knowledge to be available when they're not. Should they be asleep? Should they be on holiday? Should they leave the company? Typically when someone leaves a company, you lose all of that knowledge that isn't written down. Whereas with Sensei, you actually have the ability to capture a lot of extra knowledge, 20 to 40% extra knowledge per person. And that knowledge has value. And keeping that inside the companies, keeping that inside the enterprise is where we really see Sensei being applied globally into these large companies that we've talked about before. Next question.
Yeah. So Jason Monet, Dan, what excites you most about Sensei for this year? Will we hear more about Sensei's corporate endeavors this year? So it's two questions in
Yes.
one for you, actually.
Yeah, most exciting this year. I don't know really. That's quite a tough one. We have so many things, so many incredible developments coming up. I think this year 2 big developments will happen in the space in general, which will enable us to leverage them. One is live interactive avatars that are actually fast enough. I think that will happen this year. So my replica will actually be able to sit into a Zoom call and meet or Google Meet, or even give one of these community calls as if it's me, and you'll be hard pressed to tell the difference. The other part is autonomous actions. So true agentic function where your replica will actually be able to do things for you. Book your favorite restaurant, help you book a holiday, help you actually automate an entire task, or connecting to your entire systems. You say, we need to create a new task for the marketing team to build out an email campaign around whatever, and it will just go and help you do that for you. So those kind of automations and features are something that I'm particularly looking forward to, mostly because that takes a lot of that's basically all the things that free up my calendar. And yes, obviously, landing some of these larger corporate clients that we're already talking to and working with, and turning them into large scale customers is also going to be something that I'm super excited about, and will happen this year.
Yeah, I do know that autonomous replica is something we actually been talking a lot about. So from Samurai, after March Madness, what is next? Well,
Good point, actually. I mean, I don't know if you've got anything lined up in particular, but I believe we have a demo day coming up in May, which means most likely there will be some kind of big Easter campaign coming up for April in the run up to May.
And then, of course, we have the new plans we are working on with the points that many of you have accumulated over a longer period of time to come into cooperation.
Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, so we're working on improving the gamification platform as a way. So this you can find at sensay.io/quests, where you can earn points, and pretty soon those points will be able to be converted into tokens or swag. So keep earning those points. We are keeping track, and we do see who is participating consistently, and we do want to reward them for supporting us for the last, I guess, was it 8-9 months that we've had that platform live.
We started in June first time, so we are up about 7-8 months. Yeah, we have people that have been joining us since the beginning, and I can see it on the points and everything. So to not to scare everyone, that is why we're doing a daily leaderboard on our quest site, is to not scare everybody when they see the lifetime points of some of the members, because we only count the ones for that month, not the whole thing. Yep. So, for moment last child, the Telegram mini app points accumulate. There will be it count for the ongoing quest.
I guess they're asking, do the Telegram points transfer over to the other point system?
I have the same feeling. Yeah.
I mean, no, but it's actually a really, really good point. So we will look into making that happen, because it makes sense. If someone's really actively participating in Telegram app, which means they have the rewards on the Telegram app, which is separate to the Quest rewards. But at some point, we should look to combine them. So, thank you for that. That's actually something we'll note down and look to implement.
It's a very important question. Oh, I was afraid he was going to take this one up. So I'll just read it from the side because not all the text is here. So Tarish Mute, Sensay is doing incredible work in AI-powered digital replicas, bridging that gap between human expertise and AI-driven interactions. With Web3 decentralization and AI evolving rapidly, how does Sensay see the future of AI-driven digital entities in decentralized ecosystems? And as some with a background in project management, virtual assistants, how can professionals like me contribute to Sensay's mission?
I mean, you are the head of community, so I think that is a perfect one for you.
I'm just sweating just reading that. So the way for me is that yes, you can replicate as much as a human being is. I actually made a replica that is focused on human communication and training of people as well. It is
What a nice way to put it.
yeah, and it's actually really good to put in a situation to find the issue and how you can respond to that issue, or if anything happens. So AI at one point, the only thing I feel we cannot really change is directly person to person interaction.
Yeah, no, and so for the future, I guess for the future of decentralized identities, I don't want to start rambling on, because I will, and it's too noisy here, and I'll save it for another time when it's a bit quieter. So maybe we can bring up this question again next time. But when we're looking at the future, where replicas are indistinguishable from the real person, we really have to start reflecting on who we are as people. When you can't tell who you're talking to, a person or an AI, or maybe you actually like the AI version of someone more, what does that mean for us as humans? What does that mean for us as individuals? Like, how do we identify ourselves when people identify our replicas as us and us as our replicas? So it's a really big philosophical question that we have to address and approach. And I'm sure I've written a couple of blog posts about it, but I'm sure I'll write a few more along the way.
We also have a lot of videos about it that goes around.
Videos. And also just for participating, get involved with our quests platform. Get onto sensay.io/quests, where you can sign up to our raids, our socials, help support the community and team with any of the latest quests that we have, and earn points for that. And those points will be convertible into Sensay tokens or swag. So you can actually earn from supporting the project as well. So thanks for that. And I think the last question was, will we be hiring a community manager soon? Lars, I think someone wants your job.
I can feel that. It's not the first time. I got a lot of private DMs as well about the same question. So we have a team of 4 moderators that is working on a 24-hour schedule, both for Discord and Telegram. We are constantly training. We actually give them courses to handle customer support and everything. It's actually part of our regime that we make sure that they get trained. And then as everybody else knows, I am basically 24/7 in the chat. Even when I'm sleeping, I might sit there as well. So Emmanuel, you're welcome to come gunning for my job. I welcome the challenge. Come into the chat and we have a lovely chat.
Very, very good. Well, guys, look, I think we're going to wrap up there. So a bit shorter than usual, just for time, and also because it's too noisy here and it's mildly irritating. But look, anyone, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, whether you're watching live or following up. Thank you to everyone who asked questions today. Thank you to David Orban for joining us. Thank you to Lars for co-hosting as always. I'm sure he's going to go out and enjoy his Friday night or Thursday night out in Manila. And thanks from me and the rest of the Sensay team for supporting us as always. Lars, you look like you've got something left to say just to wrap us up.
Yes, remember to join us tomorrow for our first quiz night in Telegram. Jilly is hosting, one of our community managers inside of Telegram. We would love you all to join. That is Sensay-related questions. So put your hats on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's at Ask Sensay on Telegram and actually any social media at all. But thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next week. This will be on Thursday again instead of the usual Friday. And we'll have, don't know if we've got our special guest ready yet, but we'll be announcing it during the week. So thank you, everyone, and good afternoon, good morning, good night.
Are you ready for your digital twin? Let's go back.
It's rewind time.
The birth of communication. The wonder of hearing a voice from miles away.
Hello. Just a minute, please.
Then, the IT revolution, connecting us not just by voice, but by data.
The world is at your fingertips.
The mobile revolution. We ventured into the world connected like never before. The smartphone era. More connected than ever, closer than ever, which all became a bit overwhelming. Too much information. Too many demands. Imagine if you had a helping hand. You, hundreds of you, teaching, scheduling, engaging, buying, selling, your digital AI replica. Helping you focus on what really matters. It's your revolution. The revolution of you. The very